Hi Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. This is your January 2017 forecast. So I thought I'd do this forecast on my own birthday, which is December the 7th, because of course my sun is in Sagittarius. So I'm thinking of you. So let's see where January 2017 finds us. So the sun is going to be in your second house, in the house of values, resources, material comforts, earnings, possessions. So this is all about assets, income. It's also the house of self-worth. So at this time of year, one tends to identify more with what you own. So if you don't have money, you feel a bit more insecure. If you do have money, you feel secure. And whichever way the wind blows, you'll be wanting to increase your income. So security is a driving force at this time. You're really wanting to control your life a little bit more through resources and generally speaking through having more of what you value in your life, generally speaking. So it's not just about material possessions, it's about all sorts of things that you value. It could be information, it could be love, security. So those sorts of things are going to be motivating you right now. You're not so inclined to take risks with what you have when the sun is in the second house, but it's what you're thinking about. You're looking at ways to make yourself more secure. This is especially true because Mercury is in the second house, and with Mercury in the second, your mind is on money, your mind is on income. You may find that you have to spend more time doing paperwork with regards to financial plans, payments, insurance policies, and considering what kind of investments that you want to make. So, negotiations over property, money, and possessions can also be indicated. Mercury will be retrograde until the 8th of January, so that's when you want to be very sure about all the terms and conditions and really what you're signing up for. And when Mercury goes direct, it will still stay in the second house and in Capricorn until the end of January. So, as I said, negotiations over property, money, and possessions can be happening with Mercury here. It's what's on your mind, it's what you're talking about. So you're more concerned with business and commercial affairs and business negotiations around financial affairs. So this is really the time when you want to get financial affairs in order. So what else is happening? Venus and Mars are going to be in the 4th house together until the end of January. And Venus in the 4th, this is the house of property, home, where you feel rooted and secure. It's also about your innermost emotional space. So with Venus here, you may be thinking about redecorating the home. You'll be wanting to bring more Venusian comforts into the home, making your home as beautiful and elegant as possible. It can mean also entertaining from the comfort of your own home. You want to surround yourself with pleasant Venusian things, good food, good wine, good companionship. So making things as pleasant as possible. It can also show indulging in too much of a good thing, like particularly sweet things with Venus here. But this really favors warmth and closeness in the family. So if there are, family feuds or family disagreements, then Venus in the 4th can help smooth them over. Of course, Mars in the 4th traditionally indicates the opposite, but these two planets have great chemistry when they're together. So, although Mars can show more conflicts with family members and disputes about property and property matters, Venus here can help temper that a little bit, so ease the way, as it were. So, although conflicts may arise, Venus is going to help those Martian conflicts be, smoothed out amicably, resolved harmoniously. In terms of Mars in the 4th, Mars is that energy planet where Venus can attract things passively and just seeks to be comfortable and seeks to enjoy and have as much fun as possible and be as comfortable as possible. Mars is about the energy, the drive, and the focus. So when Mars is in the 4th house, it can also show a lot of interest in terms of redecorating the home, making things as comfortable as possible. Mars here can have some differences of opinion over the people that you share your home with, over your interior or renovation schemes, but it's also a great energy for getting a lot done around the home. So Mars in the 4th, very good for productivity in the home, productivity related to the home as well. Okay, so let's look at the other aspects this month. So the new moon on the 29th of December was in Capricorn, and those, energies run for the first 2 weeks of the month. So the new moon is always about projects getting off the ground, getting things started, taking the initiative, putting plans into motion, practical, actionable steps. And of course, in Capricorn, this is a very practical and pragmatic new moon. So Capricorn is all about realistic goals. It's about what you can do. It's about the steps that you'll have to take to accomplish those things. So with the moon and the sun conjunct Mercury, there may be lots of conversations, gathering information. This new moon is in your second house, that house of income. So it's realistic financial goals, financial issues, ways to increase your income that you can actually implement and accomplish. So thinking about that, there's a sextile to Mars, which may mean cautious risks that you're prepared to take. So kind of a strategic gamble might pay off. So making plans, gathering information, discerning how you feel about things, and for you it's all going to be about finances and how to make more money. So on the 1st of January, you've got Mars conjuncting Neptune in the 4th house, and this can have you or a family member feeling a bit off color. Perhaps you're feeling a bit demoralized about a family issue. Neptune tends to strip some of the vitality of Mars, so you can feel drained, not so great. This is often the result of indulgence. Mars and Neptune can really show too much of, Martian things, which is often liquor and so on. So feeling a bit down on your chops right now, a bit exhausted, or perhaps a family member is, since this is in the house of home and family. So take it easy and don't do too many more Neptunian things for a day or two, things that are bad for you. On the 3rd, we've got Mercury sextiling Venus between your 2nd and your 4th house. And, these two planets together can really show communicating feelings of love and friendship. And, between your 4th and your 2nd houses, it's about comfort, it's about family. So good, showing your feelings or declaring your feelings or talking about your feelings, rather, let's just say, with family members. Looking for ways to feel more secure and rooted in those connections. So Venus and Mercury together can be very good for the feelings of love and friendship. And, and for having those conversations, it makes conversation lighter. It's easier to verbalize. It's easier to put a soft touch on what you're saying. So on the 7th, we've got the Sun conjuncting Pluto in your 2nd house. And this could be around repairing and, something that belongs to you, repairing a possession. So these energies, when they come together, can sometimes show power struggles. And the 2nd house is not immune to that, because it is the house of self-worth. And often people can lord it over us through, guess what, money. So it can show power struggles around that sort of thing. So, but you also want to avoid dangerous places when these two planets come together. So on the 10th, we've got the Sun squaring Uranus between your 2nd and your 5th house. And this could show disruptions, upsets, perhaps a speculative risk. Financially, you may find yourself considering making a gamble. So, but it can also show conflicts and disagreements about money being spent or a creative business project that you're involved with. So this is, however, good for making changes. Just try not to be too rash and impulsive, because Uranus can really tip the apple cart sometimes. So on the 11th, we've got the Sun squaring Jupiter between your 2nd and 11th house, and that energy carries over into the full moon in your 8th house. So with the Sun squaring Jupiter, this is good for an energy boost. It's good for getting things off the ground. It's good for getting things started. And because Jupiter is in your 11th house, this is around goals, dreams, and objectives. So, and it can also be around profit from business. So good for, looking for ways to make your business more profitable, and also, good just for, getting financial or income projects off the ground. So if you have thought about new ways of making money, then this could be the boost that you need. So the full moon is going to be in your 8th house, and it's got that square to Jupiter between both the sun and the moon. So this in Cancer can be about careful consolidating energies. It may be the time when you find you have to settle debts, so there may be a large unexpected outlay of cash. But it's also where you're generally considering give and take. With the squares to Jupiter, you're feeling pretty optimistic about things, and, so there's lots of, and possibly generous. You may be called upon to help somebody else out financially also. So this is where you want to develop goals and objectives around making money too. So continuing that energy and settling financial debts and obligations. So on the 19th, we've got a bit of a tricky aspect between Mars and Saturn, and Mars is in that fourth house. So this can show obstruction from family members or people that you consider family. So you can find your efforts a bit hemmed in or blocked by circumstances. Mars tends to produce that frustration when it's in square, and anger sometimes when it's in square with Saturn. So you want to go slowly and carefully. You may find that you lock horns with an older family member over an issue. Or that they're just being a bit discouraging and, you're feeling demoralized from their criticism. So obstacles, delays, and hindrances around the 19th. So slow and careful progress. On the 20th, the Sun moves into your third house, and which will stay there for the next month. And the third house is that communication sector of the chart. It generally indicates a lot more busyness, a lot more social interactions, especially with people that you interact with daily. So more conversations, more social opportunities. And one tends to be busier with paperwork, phone calls, emails, and light socializing. You may find that you make a series of short trips, and the focus here is also on clear communication. So you want to be as clear as possible in all your communiques. The third house is also where we learn new skills. So you're developing ideas that you want to take through to teaching, publishing, or print. So very good for productivity in those areas and generally for a sales pitch. On the 20th, we've got Venus sextiling Pluto from the 4th to the 2nd houses. So this can really deepen family ties, deepen a sense of love and security from people that you care about. The 4th house is those family members, and Venus and Pluto together always intensify feelings, deepen ties, make connections more profound. So, use this if there is somebody to connect with in terms of family members, and it's also very good for creative expression and artistic expression. On the 23rd, we've got Mercury sextiling Jupiter from the 2nd to the 4th house. So again, conversations with family. This one really stimulates the imagination. It's sensitive, reflective, intuitive. So can look for escapism. So maybe it may be a good time to go on a light outing, or go and see a movie with a family member, or for having light philosophical discussions. So this one less good for rational and logical thoughts. So rather keep it on the creative side. So on the 27th, we've got Venus squaring Saturn from the 4th to the 1st. And again, like the Mars squares Saturn, this can show some cooling off. When Venus and Saturn are in difficult aspect, Venus being love, harmony, friendship, and Saturn being restrictions, obstacles, it can be a little bit more spare on the affections. So Venus and Saturn together, cooling off of the affections, you're kind of looking at interactions that you're having, and this could be particularly for you with family members, with a bit more of a clinical detachment. It's all about give and take, and you're assessing these things logically. So less emotive. So feeling a bit more cool and reserved, and you're wanting to be sure that you're getting out what you're putting in. On the 28th, we've got that new moon in your 3rd house, and this is very good for 2 weeks, the energies are going to be starting up things that have to do with the 3rd house. So this is good for learning something new, learning new skills. It's how you can adapt your routine to be more productive. It's also good for getting business negotiations off the ground. For contacts, for opening contracts and business discussions. It's good for short trips. So, and also for getting things off the ground that have to do with teaching, publishing, or print. So ideas that you want to take through to those mediums are are indicated. So they can get a real push from this new moon. So take those practical steps. On the 29th, we've got Mercury conjuncting Pluto in your 2nd house. And this can be good for research, investigation, getting to the bottom of things. Mental activity is really indicated. In the 2nd house, this is also the house of movable possessions. So perhaps you're investigating, something that you want to purchase or something that you want to acquire. It could be technological. This aspect also good for critical thinking and shrewd analysis, but it again could cool off the affections in the 2nd house. On the 31st, we've got Mercury squaring Uranus between your 2nd and your 5th house, and these two planets together can be a little bit more accident prone. You are looking for new ways to stimulate your mind, and you're fascinated by novelty, technological in particular. But at the same time, because it's a difficult aspect, Mercury and Uranus can sometimes show, scattered thinking, a bit of nervous energy. Again, one's inclined to be a bit more rash and hasty, and you definitely want to be a little bit more careful of accidents. So on the 28th, the month ends with Mars moving into Aries in your 5th house. So this is very good for creative business projects and pushing those sorts of things. So that energy going to be carrying over into February. Mars, of course, rules Aries. So, very in charge, focused, and keen to try new things and take creative risks and make financial gambles. So nice energy to end the month off with. If you've enjoyed this forecast, please like and subscribe, and thanks so much for listening.